Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation's 47th Annual Legislative Conference, and to this evening's event, the Phoenix Awards Dinner. We will open the program with the national anthem, followed by the Negro National Anthem. Both songs will be performed by Sheila Jackson, Miss District of Columbia 2016.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. Thank you.
Please give a warm round of applause for Sheila Jackson. And now, please welcome to the stage our mistress and master of ceremony, American Urban Radio Network's Washington Bureau Chief, White House correspondent, and CNN political analyst, Miss April Ryan, and actor, producer, and comedian, Mr. Anthony Anderson.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone, to the 47th Annual Congressional Black Caucus Foundation's Legislative Conference and to this evening's Phoenix Awards dinner. This year's conference's theme, "And Still I Rise," reflects a legacy of resilience and emphasizes the collective strength of the Black community to rise above continued racial, social, and political inequalities while simultaneously creating a pathway forward from protest to substantive changes in policy.
Tonight, after several days of reflecting on the state of Black America and strategizing around solutions, we take time to celebrate our accomplishments and honor leaders among us who exemplify the affirmation in the theme, "And Still I Rise." We rise in spite of the challenges and obstacles placed in our path. We rise because America needs our genius. We rise because Black excellence cannot be suppressed. Now, Ms. Ryan, it is my pleasure to host this evening's program with you. Thank you for arranging this meeting for all of us with your friends at the Congressional Black Caucus.
I see you got jokes, Anthony. You got some jokes.
A little bit.
Well, the pleasure's mine. I'm a Black journalist, and the CBC members are all Black, so naturally I was able to make this little get-together happen. But no, seriously, it's great to meet many of the CBC members I've never met before.
Excuse me, ma'am, in the front table with the Oprah hair. Ma'am with the Oprah hair, please get off the phone. Man with the Oprah hair, yes, you. Say goodbye, hang up. Okay, thank you. Well, good, the program has started. All right, well, that makes perfect sense. So now that you've brought us all together, let's get the show started.
Yes, let's start by welcoming to the stage the Mayor of Washington, D.C., who will bring her greetings on behalf of our host city. Please welcome the Mayor of the District of Columbia, the Honorable Muriel E. Bowser.
Good evening, Congressional Black Caucus Foundation. I'm Muriel Bowser, and as mayor, I am proud to welcome you to the best city in the world and soon to be the 51st state, Washington, D.C. On behalf of nearly 700,000 residents who call D.C. home, I want to commend you and the entire CBC family for speaking up for the values that matter to us most. Values of inclusiveness, equality, mutual respect, and justice. These are our DC values too, and we are proud to stand with you in fighting for them each and every day. Congressional Black Caucus members continually fight for the issues that impact our communities, and you've been on the front line since the beginning. From fighting against voter disenfranchisement to preserving our most sacred American value, the right to vote, to ensuring all children, no matter their zip code, have access to a quality education, to helping families access affordable housing. Because we know in fighting for health care and affordable housing, these are human rights, not luxuries. We know too that you are leading the fight for a living wage. And here in DC, our residents have a special appreciation for all of the members of the caucus for standing with us when it comes to statehood. I want to thank our Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton, who fights that fight every day. Yet today, we still lack access to full democracy. But whenever Congress tries to meddle in our affairs, like when they try to overturn our anti-discrimination laws, prevent women from making their own reproductive health choices, we know that CBC members are the first to stand up. So to all the CBC members and advocates in the audience, we thank you. I know with your support, we will become the 51st state and a more perfect union. For everyone visiting Washington, D.C., our beautiful city, whether you've been here many times before or this is your first time, it's hard to miss the growth we're experiencing. Everything is booming. Our neighborhoods continue to thrive. We welcome new families. We see our unemployment rates fall. Our city is the safest that it's been in years. Small businesses of all kinds are flourishing, and our commitments to public safety and education have sparked the renaissance we're seeing across the nation's capital. As we work to end homelessness, we invest in affordable housing and develop short-term family housing across our city for our most vulnerable residents. We want to be a model for the nation, and we want you to always visit and be proud of your nation's capital. I once again want to thank the members of the Congressional Black Caucus for the work that they do each and every day. You have our thanks, our appreciation, and we so enjoyed the Congressional Black Caucus coming and meeting each and every year. God bless you all.
I'm glad you were having fun with the band.
Thank you, Mayor Bowser, as always, for the great hospitality and support we have received from the people of the District of Columbia. Random side note, for those of you tweeting, taking selfies, and the lady with the Oprah hair who was on her phone, please use the hashtag CBCF17.
CBCF ALC 17.
That's what I said, CBCF17.
CBCF ALC 17. And now, please welcome to the stage.
Why you gotta be so official, April? People still walking in.
Hey everyone, walking in. And now, this guy is something. And now please welcome to the stage the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, Texas Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, representing the 18th Congressional District.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know it's a challenge, but would you please find your seats? I'll give you a moment. And be seated, please. I would humorously say sit where you are, but it's not musical chairs. Allow me to give some heartfelt thoughts about what my fellow Texans have gone through in the last couple of weeks, joined by my fellow Americans in Florida, my fellow Americans in Puerto Rico, my fellow Americans in the U.S. Virgin Islands, and our neighbors and friends in the Caribbean. I cannot thank all of you enough for the outpouring of love and support. And I thank our first responders of fire and police and military, and yes, all of those persons who got a boat and got in the water. Some lost their lives to save us. I ask that you give all of those who sacrifice to save those and who are still fighting to help those in Puerto Rico, Florida, Texas, and the Virgin Islands, give them a very big hand. This is dedicated to the survivors and victims of our hurricanes and earthquakes as we pray for the people in Mexico. Thank you so very much. Good evening, colleagues, friends, and family. Thank you, Mayor Bowser, on behalf of the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation. It is my distinct pleasure to welcome all of you to this year's 47th Annual Phoenix Awards dinner. After a week of intense discussions, strategizing, and organizing for the challenges ahead, this evening is our opportunity to celebrate and inspire each other. With that in mind, I'll start by acknowledging my fellow board members. Now remember, if they're not here, tell them they were acknowledged. Members of the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation Board, would you please stand for all the work that you have done? Would you join me in giving them an outstanding round of applause in gratitude for their service? Thank you all for your contributions to this institution that is critical to amplifying our issues and maintaining the pipeline of Black leaders in public service and industry for generations to come. The theme of this year's annual legislative conference has been, "And still I rise, and still I rise." Let us be very intentional and clear with each other, and especially with those who do not share our agenda. We are moving upward and onward. We are not going backwards. We have had some setbacks in the past few weeks. As I started my remarks, hurricanes have devastated my beloved Texas. Right now in my district, today, I organized 2 distribution sites to be able to help those who are still out of their homes, without jobs, standing in line for food and supplies, attempting to restore their lives. Just like in Florida, Louisiana, the Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico, and we always want to remember Mexico, among other locations. Our communities have taken a hard hit, but we will be with them to rebuild and rise back up from this setback, and we will not let them walk this journey alone. We are here in Washington, all dressed up and in a celebration mode, but we have not forgotten those of you still in recovery. We are with you during these critical hours and days leading up to the hurricanes, trying to prevent loss of life, and of course, we lost life. Might I mention Sergeant Perez, a first responder, who said to his wife, "I've got to get to work," and lost his life. Or Joseph Dial, who said to his boss, "I'm on the way," and lost his life. Even if the loss of property was unavoidable, we were there and will be there with you in the days after the hurricane delivered that mighty blow and left many homeless without anything more than the clothes on their backs. We will continue to be with you to pick up the pieces and get back on solid ground, because we still have economies to grow, communities to build, and prosperity to create in our communities. These disasters may have knocked us down, but they did not knock us out. They made us stronger, more unified, and more resolved to strengthen our connections. The CBCF has committed to doing its part. We're asking for your help to create a fund to support the hurricane victims. Here is how you can contribute. Now, this is where I pause. I want you really to pay attention to these numbers. They might be lucky numbers. Text CBCF to 56512 to make a credit card donation. Again, text CBCF to 56512 to make a credit card donation. And still, we rise. We will continue to rise because it is our moral obligation to prepare for the generations to come. But this day and this evening should also be a call to action. The freewheeling tone of arrogance and dismissal of a person's belief or difference is unacceptable. Language from the highest office of the land attacking our young African American athletes, lawyers, teachers, college students just should not be tolerated. And he cannot fire our children. He cannot fire our children by any means. And Stephon Curry, you can accept any invitation or not accept any invitation that you desire. So to our friends in the community and our corporate friends who are out there, our business friends, our members who have been fighting for justice, our elected officials across America, help us fight for affirmative action to continue to support hiring our young people. It should not be acceptable today to now ignore a whole group of bright and enthusiastic Americans because of the tone and attitudes that we're facing. Because we still rise, and our children will rise. No matter what tone or arrogance is displayed, we as a people will still rise. It is my privilege now to be able to bring two dynamic individuals to the stage, two of my colleagues who have played an important role in shaping the discussions and interactions we've had this week. They have done an outstanding job of leading the planning of this year's conference. They are champions for our most pressing issues, day in and day out, in the halls and chambers of Congress. So naturally, they were in tune with the issues we needed to address this week. Please welcome the co-chairs of this year's 47th Annual Legislative Conference. That is our dear friends, Congresswoman Robin Kelly, representing Illinois' 2nd District, and Congressman Mark Veazey, representing Texas' 33rd District. Here they come, still we rise.
Welcome. It's wonderful to see all of you here this evening. Serving as a co-chair of this year's annual legislative conference has been a labor of love and one of serious purpose. I am very pleased that so many of you showed up this year to teach, to learn, and to contribute to rich discussions and planning around an African American agenda that we must pursue together in the critical months and years ahead. This is certainly a historic moment to be hyper-focused on the issues that impact our communities, because clearly, if we take our eyes off the ball, we have plenty to lose. Our health is at stake, our public safety is at stake, our economic progress is at stake, our children's educational opportunities are at stake, and our basic voting and civil rights are at stake in 2017. It would not be much of a stretch to say that our democracy is at stake. We came together this week to really focus specifically on the core issues, the root causes, the solutions, the strategies, and the ways to organize and invigorate our communities with a sense of urgency, but also with a sense of optimism that anything is possible. When we put our minds, hearts, and spirits into our biggest, most challenging ambitions, we are in many ways at a critical juncture in our society. So much is changing. We know change is a constant that we must accept. Yet there are forces within this society that would rather fight change by going back to old ways that benefited the few, rather than find the best solutions for the future that can benefit us all. This is a moment to unify on the side of what is just and right, and on the side of a positive future for all Americans. I am so proud to be a part of the Congressional Black Caucus, a caucus of leaders who are leading with passion, integrity, and vision for our collective benefit. After this week's experiences, I'm going back to work with new energy and new insights that I have gained from many of you. I hope that when you go back to your communities and to your lives, you will take with action and a renewed commitment to stay engaged and to get your colleagues, family members, and friends engaged, much like we did leading up to the historic elections of 2018 and 2012. If we are destined to continue our rise, we can only do it together. Congressman Veazey, I have enjoyed and appreciated your partnership on this year's conference. I know you want to add your greetings and reflections.
Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Congresswoman Kelly, let me just say, I've also enjoyed working with you to ensure the success of this year's conference. And wow, what a week this has been. As you've mentioned, this year's conference comes at a crucial and critical point in our nation's history and for our communities. That's why it's been enlightening to see so many Americans from all over the country travel to DC to discuss how we can continue to uplift our communities. What we've all had a chance to do this week is to participate and listen to open and honest conversations about a wide array of topics, ranging from social justice, politics, and protests, to efforts to roll back our voting and civil rights gains in the post-Obama era. Experts have led lively discussions addressing economic development and the creation of Black wealth, to education, technology, and the future careers and business opportunities for our next generation. And as Congresswoman Kelly mentioned, many of these conversations highlighted not only what's at stake within our communities, but also what we have to lose. That is why we need everyone in this room to commit to at least being part of one solution to a challenge we face as a community. And when you go back to your communities, your workplaces, your houses of worship, and engage your social circles, both online and in person, we need for you, your colleagues, and family and friends to actively participate in the development of our economies and communities. We do not have the luxury of sitting on the sidelines, watching and commenting without action. As members of Congress and the People's House, we will continue to be your voice on policy, but we need your input and your action back in the community. Most importantly, we need for you to exercise your right to vote. As we have heard time and time again, your voice is your vote. We must preserve our democracy. If many of you leave here and go back to your communities and find a way to engage and lead, then all of our investments of time and resources to be here will have been well spent. And with that said, we'll invite to the stage someone we are sure will offer added inspiration and vision for our collective work ahead.
He is the leader of our caucus in the Congress. He is a fearless and passionate advocate for his constituents in New Orleans, a fighter for the interests of our communities, and he stands firmly on the principles that we all know are important for building a strong nation. Please join us in welcoming to the stage the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, Congressman Cedric Richmond from Louisiana's 2nd Congressional District.
Good evening, and thank you, Congressman Vesey and Congresswoman Kelly, for your generous introduction. I wholeheartedly agree with you both. This is a moment that calls for serious action, and every person who cares about their family, their neighbors, their community, and their country should ask themselves what action they will take to keep our communities and our nation on a rising trajectory. Serving as the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus is a humbling responsibility that I take very seriously. We call ourselves the conscience of the Congress. And given the climate in the Congress and the general state of governance at the federal level, this is certainly a time where we must fully live up to that role. Since its establishment in 1971, the Congressional Black Caucus has fought to empower our constituencies and address their legislative concerns by pursuing a policy agenda that includes, but is not limited to, the following: reforming the criminal justice system and eliminating barriers to reentry, combating voter suppression, expanding access to world-class education from pre-K through post-secondary level, expanding access to quality, affordable health care, and eliminating racial health disparities, expanding access to 21st century technologies, including broadband, strengthening protections for workers and expanding access to full, fairly compensated employment, expanding access to capital, contracts, and counseling for minority-owned businesses, and promoting U.S. foreign policy initiatives in Africa and other countries that are consistent with the fundamental rights of human decency. For the 115th Congress, the CBC has an historic 49 members of the U.S. House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate, representing 78 million Americans, 24% of the total U.S. population, 17 million African Americans, which is 41% of the African American population in the U.S. We represent cities, suburban and rural communities in every region of the nation, each with their unique assets and challenges. As a people, we are not monolithic, but we certainly have a shared history and shared interest. We are witnessing very troubling times in this country, particularly as it relates to the treatment and prospects of African Americans. Some of it seems eerily familiar. Perhaps it is packaged slightly different, and it's spoken about with more nuance and subtlety, but it sure seems like a flashback from the past. But you know what? Whether we are sitting here in this ballroom or standing on our street corner back in our districts, we can acknowledge that our ancestors and elders have survived far worse than what we are currently experiencing. Our ancestors survived and overcame and courageously challenged the individuals and systems that traumatized, excluded, and exploited and disenfranchised them. As a promising reminder that we have inherited their resilience, their resourcefulness, their genius, and their abilities to envision a victorious future. We have the historical knowledge that what we fight for together, with divine guidance, we cannot be denied. There is certainly extremely difficult work ahead to rebuild our communities and open doorways to many different ideas of the American dream. We will get to that place wherein young African American men and women can believe in the ideals of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, not just surviving from one day to the next. So when we begin to feel discouraged and weary, we must remind ourselves that we have history on our side. We will leverage that legacy of resilience to achieve far beyond what we can imagine now. We owe it to our elders and our ancestors to keep rising, to survive, to grow, and to thrive. Together, we will. We need to remind ourselves that the arc of the moral universe does bend towards justice, but it doesn't bend on its own. We bend it. There are those who would go around this country saying, let's make America great again. But what we have to remind people is what made America great in the first place. It was the blood, sweat, and tears of our ancestors. It was our seniors that boycotted so that I could go to some of the best schools in the country and pursue my dreams. It was those who gave up their lives so that we could have the rightful vote. It was our parents who gave us spankings so that we would have good common sense. But if you want to know what made this country great in the first place, then you can look no further than members of the CBC, or Martin Luther King, or Rosa Parks, or Shirley Chisholm, or Jesse Jackson, or Maxine Waters, or John Conyers, or Jim Clyburn, Benny Thompson. The list goes on and on. So what I would just ask today is that we leave this huddle and we break and we all go run our respective plays. And I'll tell you, like my grandmother told me when I asked her to help me with algebra, just play your role and, honey, do the best you can with what you got. God bless you.
Thank you, Congressman Richmond, for your leadership and your many prayer. We are the flood of each other's blood, the clone of each other's bone. Stop me, April.
Go ahead.
No. Everybody having a good time tonight? All right, who has taken a selfie this evening? Taking a selfie? All right, who has their phone out on the table right now? Because if you have it out, raise it in the air. Get your phone, get your phone. All right, now go to text somebody. Go to the text app, and where it says to who, type in 56512. And in the message box, type in CBCF. Now, when you text that, a reply is going to come back. Put in the amount of money that you were going to spend on brunch tomorrow afternoon. Pledge that money while you're waiting for your dinner. Now, go ahead and make that donation. It will go to support victims, hurricane victims in the CBC member districts. I'm asking you to look around your table right now and judge anyone who is not texting CBCF to 56512. CBCF to 56512.
Anthony, you know that's a great idea. Let me see your cell phone, please.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
Oh, I cannot believe you gave it up. All right, now unlock it.
There's some pictures in there you don't want to see.
Unlock it.
Okay.
Unlock it.
Okay, it's just a thumbprint. There it goes. Look, there in the text. Don't scroll to the left. Don't scroll to the left.
Oh, and you're getting a message right now.
Hold on. Don't. Hey, let me just get that started for you. Okay, there you go.
All right, now I want you to start texting 56512.
Okay.
56512.
Okay, 56512.
Right. So you're all set.
I'm all set.
You're all set to make your donation.
Okay.
And we can take care of that after dinner. But I'm donating all of the proceeds from tonight's event, from my proceeds, for the CBCF Hurricane Fund.
I would donate my proceeds, but I'm not getting paid nothing tonight.
Anyway.
So just remember that. You get what you pay for.
Anyway.
I'm here for free.
He is so bad.
And I am so serious.
Okay, Anthony. Ladies and gentlemen.
As one young lady said, Mr. Anderson, do it for the culture. Okay, whatever that means.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for dinner. Please welcome Congressman Emanuel Cleaver, representing Missouri's 5th Congressional District. Reverend Cleaver will offer the invocation before the meal.
Please, if you're not close to your table, we'd ask that you stop at this time. We'd ask for you to pause. It's prayer time. Let us now approach God's throne. To the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whose kingdom knows only the language of righteousness and justice, where your power centers on loyalty and love, send forth your Spirit on those of us gathered for this spiritual meal, so that all of us assembled might join together in the great struggle which lies before us. Strengthen what lies within us to match any force outside us. And, oh Lord, Union Carpenter, great King, look with your majestic mercy on the multitudes of our land and across the world who bear the indignities of injustice. Touch the political leaders in this and every country, that we may govern to your standards of order, equity, and justice. Guide, O Lord, we pray, the minds of members of Congress to understand the issues faced by the unemployed, the uninsured, the unbanked, the unbalanced, the uncertain, the unvisited, the unnoticed, the unplugged, and the unsightly. Protect our hearts from the often subtle lure of earthly stuff, and undo regard for those who have a lot of stuff. And now, great God, bless the food we are about to eat, not that which some of the folk here have already begun to eat. And Lord, may your presence bring extra taste to the food we will eat. And in closing, Lord, remind those who are about to eat that Beelzebub is butter and dessert is the devil. In the name of Jesus we pray, amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain in your seats while dinner is served, so that our servers may move through the hall efficiently. Thank you, and bon appetit.
I hope your dinner is to your culinary delight and acceptance. I want you all to, as you take your seats, we have something that's very unplanned, something that's, I'm shocked. I think Mr. Blackish himself wants to perform. Anthony wants to give us something. Anthony, what is it? Ooh. Ribbon in the Sky.
Do I have your attention now?
Anthony needs your attention. He wants you to hear him play. Play the piano. Tender Love? Is that 80s? Oh, wow. Dionne Warwick got you off the piano. Okay. As we take our seats, the next portion of our program will begin. I pray your culinary appetite has been satisfied. The next portion of the program, that was good, Tender Love, and what was the Stevie Wonder? Ribbon in the Sky.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Shh. I learned that from Soledad O'Brien. She would always come when people were making noise, and she would just go, shh.
I like that. She's awesome.
And it would get silent. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. I hope everyone has enjoyed the meal and the opportunity to reconnect and network with old and new friends. As we resume, please continue to finish your meal while bringing your attention back to our program.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm round of applause for the Clarence Knight Orchestra. Aren't they fantastic?
But they're not quite done yet. They have another pretty important gig right now. They are about to play for an icon, a living legend. Please show your love for the incomparable, the legendary, the lovely Miss Dionne Warwick.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. All right, talk to me when I talk to you. We're going to do 2 songs that I feel quite apropos for this evening, and then let you enjoy the rest of your evening. And if you happen to know a couple of the words during the course of the song, if you like singing along with me, please feel free to do so. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there is just to the love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. Lord, we don't need another mountain. There are mountains and hillsides enough to climb, and there are oceans and rivers enough to cross, enough to last till the end of time. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there is just to the love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. My Lord, we don't need another meadow. There are cornfields and wheat fields enough to grow, and there are sunbeams and moonbeams enough to shine. Won't you listen, my Lord, if you wanna know, if you wanna know what the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there is just to the love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. Oh, not just for some, oh, but just for everyone. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. What the world needs, what this world needs right now is, yes, our world needs love. Our world needs love. And we do, yes we do. Uh-huh. Oh yeah. Uh-huh. And I never thought I'd feel this way. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm glad I got the chance to say that I do believe I love you, and if I should ever go away, close your eyes and try to feel the way we do today. And then if you can, remember, keep smiling, keep shining, knowing you can always count on me. For sure, that's what friends are for. In good times, in the bad times, I'll be on your side forevermore. That's what friends are for. Oh yes. Well, you came and opened me, and now there's so much more I see. And so, by the way, I thank you, and then for the times when we're apart. Close your eyes and know these words are coming from my heart. And then if you can, remember to keep smiling, keep shining, knowing you can always count on me. For sure, that's what friends are for. In good times, in bad times, I'll be on your side forevermore. That's what friends are for. Keep smiling, shining, knowing you can always count on me. For sure, that's what friends are for. Good times, bad times, I'll be on your side forevermore. That's what friends are for. So all of you, keep smiling, shining, knowing you can count on D. For sure. You see, that's what friends are for. Keep smiling, shining, you can count on me for sure. You see, that's what friends are for. That's what friends are for. God bless all. Thank you, Rob, very, very much. And good night.
Please give another round of applause to the iconic Miss Dionne Warwick. Wow. He's at it again, Miss Warwick.
Oh, okay. I was trying to do an encore.
Oh, wow. Wasn't that amazing? The icon, the legend, Dionne Warwick. That's
Oh, is that me?
That's me.
Okay, well, say it then.
I'm waiting for everyone to settle down a little bit.
They ain't gonna settle down. This is a room full of 5,000 black folk. Ain't no settling down.
We can do it. I know we can. Because the next part of the program is very real. And it's some of the reason why we're here. So everyone, I need you to hug a neck a little later. Let's settle down. What would Soledad do? Say, shh. Shh. Thank you.
I want to shout out my Disney ABC family table out there in the building.
There are a lot of shout outs, right?
Want to shout out my Norvo Nordis table. Ambre, what's up, baby? Ambre, what's going on? I'm coming to you. Want to shout out my Exxon Mobil table.
While you're at it, shout out Coca-Cola as well. All the CBC members who are here, former.
What up, Coca-Cola?
All right, now that they're settled down.
I want to shout out the table with the lady with the Oprah hair.
Oh, let's shout out Angela Rye, because she helped reclaim. Oh, yeah, I see you, Angela. She's running. Hey, girl.
I want to shout out to Congresswoman Frederica Wilson from Florida. Love your outfit and your hat, baby.
And you'll see it on display very soon. Well, now that they've settled down and you're riled up, settle back at your tables and let's take a moment.
And if I missed anybody, charge it to my mind and not my heart. I love all y'all.
Let's take a moment to remember some of our icons, champions and trailblazers who have transitioned since we were together last year.
Why didn't you tell me this was the serious moment? I got one more shout out. I want to shout out to Omarosa, who was trying to get in the front. They didn't let her in. So shout out to you, Omarosa. I don't know if you can hear me outside, but what up?
And you know I'm not touching that one, right? But you know what my mother used to always say? It's not what they call you and what you answer to. It's not what they call you, it's what you answer to. And she also used to say, your enemy will be your footstool. Drop the mic. Moving on. Now back to business. And now we have the pleasure of welcoming to the stage the President and Chief Executive Officer of the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, Ms. A. Shawnice Washington.
Good evening, everyone. What an inspiring and uplifting week it has been. After months of discouraging news, division throughout our nation, not to mention natural disasters, it has felt great to come together this week to refocus, reorganize, and inspire ourselves to work together on a collective vision. Every year, we at the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation look forward to facilitating the convergence of Black intellect, creativity, innovation, consciousness, and an overall commitment to collaborating on solutions to our most pressing issues. This year's conference theme, "And Still I Rise," makes reference to the challenges we have overcome in the past, as well as a statement about our determination for our current challenges. We draw on our beloved legend, Maya Angelou's poetry, to reflect on our historical resiliency to overcome trauma, discrimination, and dehumanization, of extending ourselves beyond barriers placed in our paths to not only survive, but to thrive. It seems we are called to access that resource again for this moment in our history. The mission of the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation is to advance the global Black community by developing leaders, informing policy, and educating the public. An important way that we pursue our mission is by continuously building the pipeline of leadership through our fellowship, internship, and scholarship programs. We develop our next generation of leaders who, with the support of contributors like you, ensure that our country's future remains bright. Our leadership development programs provide transformational opportunities for young leaders to gain access to and experience with the policy-making process on Capitol Hill, as well as exposure to professional development and networking opportunities. These young people will be our future members of Congress, cabinet members, and corporate executives who will help shape and fight for policy that benefits our community. It is now my pleasure to introduce you to our 2016-2018 cohort of fellows. Priscilla Barber, serving on the House Committee on Energy and Commerce, Energy and Environment Subcommittee. Ms. Zoe Khador with the American Petroleum Institute. Alexandrine DiBiance, House Energy and Commerce Committee, Subcommittee on Communications and Technology. Abdul Dinsi, United States Agency for International Development, USAID, Power Africa Division. Ronald Madlock, Senate Subcommittee on Regulatory Affairs and Federal Management. Aaron Robinson, House Committee on Education and the Workforce. Kimberly Toots, House Committee on Education and the Workforce. Join me in giving them all a round of applause. The most rewarding aspect of our leadership program is witnessing how these transformative experiences are in the lives of the participants. Each year, we make it a point to have one of our participants share his or her story and make a special appeal for support of these programs. Let's watch.
You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise.
I am a first-generation college student. I'm the first person in my family to never spend a day in prison. As a matter of fact, when I was 11 years old, I watched my mother be sentenced to 10 years in prison. A lot of times we say we are who we are despite where we come from. I don't believe that. I am who I am because of where I come from. I think that those things motivated me, and I kept them in the back of my mind, in my heart, every step along the way.
Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? Because I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room.
Just because I came from a certain background or I had these certain family experiences, that didn't mean that I couldn't achieve. So I used that doubt and I used those ideas that I knew people had about me to fuel myself challenging those stereotypes, those ideas and those beliefs. I recognized that a lot of the reason I am where I am is because there were people who took the time to reach out to me, to believe in me, to seek me out. And those opportunities ultimately set me up for where I am today.
Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard? 'Cause I laugh like I got gold mines, digging in my own backyard.
It's important that the youth be exposed to opportunity, like the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation programs. I was able to see people who look like me influencing policy, and I was inspired. It has truly changed the trajectory of my life, and I can only imagine what it could do for the tons of youth out there who need programs like this.
You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise.
I know that my time would not have been the same on the Hill without my cohort. The program was there to facilitate discussions between my cohort members and I when there were so many things happening in this country that we didn't know how to deal with, and being right in the face of those things in our office, we had to have people to lean on, and CBCF was there.
Just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high, still I'll rise.
It's extremely important for programs like the CBCF Leadership Institute to continue to grow and expand. It's actually critical. If we don't get these underrepresented voices and communities to be represented in these spaces, it'll have dire effects on our community. When we speak for us, we come from a place of passion, a place of investment, a place of understanding, a place of knowledge. That's so important in policy, it can't be overstated.
Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I am a black ocean leaping and wide. Welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise into a daybreak that's wondrously clear. I rise, bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slave.
When I think of myself walking the halls of Capitol Hill every day, and I think of the role that CBCF played in me being there, I smile, because CBCF is literally fulfilling the dreams of my ancestors. I'm blessed to say that CBCF is the reason I'm here.
I rise. I rise. I rise.
What an inspiring story. This year, in lieu of our support for the Leadership Institute, we have been moved to use this time in the program to appeal for support to those communities devastated by the natural disasters of the past few weeks. I now invite you to hear from one of our fellows, Ms. Zoe Khador from Houston, Texas. Please give her a warm welcome. Zoe.
Thank you, Ms. Shawnice. Good evening, everyone. Okay, we can do better than that. This is ALC. Good evening, everyone. Happy homecoming. My name is Zoe Khador, and I am proud to serve as the 2016-2018 American Petroleum Institute Energy Fellow for the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation. As mentioned, I hail from the greatest state, Texas, and from the greatest city in the world, Houston. And I currently serve at the American Petroleum Institute in the Office of Federal Affairs. I previously had the honor of working for Congressman Mark Vesey of Dallas, Texas, the co-chair of this year's ALC, as his energy and STEM policy advisor. I am a graduate of Spelman College. Shout out to the Spellhouse fam in the building. And the University of Houston Law Center. Houston is a vibrant city, known for its energy, NASA, its contribution to medicine, technology, and of course, Beyonce. It has also produced some of our world's greatest leaders, such as Congresswoman Barbara Jordan, the late Congressman Mickey Leland, the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, and the first member of Congress that I was blessed enough to work for, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, who, as I might know, is also my member of Congress back in Houston, and the dynamic Congressman Al Green, who has the best hair in the entire United States Congress. Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee and Congressman Al Green have been extremely heroic during these past few weeks. In fact, when Hurricane Harvey hit Houston, within hours, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee was at the George R. Brown assisting. And might I add, she was in a very wonderful yellow raincoat. In addition, many of the CBC members and the CBCF partners, such as the American Petroleum Institute, the Coca-Cola Foundation, Amazon, and countless corporations, have shown a tremendous amount of love and support to the victims of Hurricane Harvey. When the hurricane hit Houston, I, of course, was in DC. And I watched with horror as so many of my loved ones and my beloved city suffered. I will never forget the feeling of devastation when I had to call my grandmother and tell her that she was going to have to evacuate her home of 53 years without knowing if she was going to be able to return. I will never forget the feeling of not being able to speak to my father for 2 days, only to realize that he had been rescued by the Coast Guard. And I would like to thank all of the first responders and the brave men and women who assisted those, not just in Houston, but throughout the other regions that were affected. I will also never forget what it felt like to have to speak to my younger cousin who was getting ready to start high school, not only to learn that her high school had been completely destroyed, but that her home was also completely destroyed, including all of her school supplies. These are just a few of the stories, and thankfully my family is alive, but countless others have had their lives turned completely upside down. And as a Caribbean American woman, I would be remiss if I did not make notion of all of the women and men in Puerto Rico and the US Virgin Islands who are also suffering. And I would like to thank Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett for her leadership in ensuring that we do not forget here in the States that people in Puerto Rico and the United States Virgin Islands are indeed United States citizens and are deserving of our support. As the Energy Fellow, this hurricane affected me both personally and professionally, as I watched what happened as we tried to respond to the amount of refineries that were shut down. And I would also like to thank the API as well as the other energy companies that have helped raise money for the hurricane victims. Lives were lost, property was damaged, countless churches, homes, schools, businesses have been completely destroyed. People have literally lost everything that they have. And while we have done a lot to restore, it's going to take years for these cities and regions to rebuild. So today I ask that you would join the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation in helping to raise money to provide relief to these countless amounts of victims. Thank you to those who have already donated, and thank you to those who plan to donate in the future. May God continue to bless Houston, bless the Caribbean, and bless the United States of America.
face of recent tragedies, we have a choice to make. Will we fade away like melted snow? Will we bend or will we break? We will never forget the day we lost nearly everything we had. We'll find the strength to kneel and pray when our hearts are cold and sad. I am convinced that we can build on broken pieces.
We all know the saying, to whom much is given, much is expected. Let's give generously to show our compassion for those who have been devastated by natural disasters. All proceeds raised this evening will go to the 2017 Hurricane Relief Fund. The CBCF will seek input from the impacted districts of CBC members on the organizations most deserving of the contribution. Now, I would like to bring to the stage a man who achieved a long, distinguished military career serving our country in the United States Army. He is best known as the general who led the Joint Task Force for the United States military recovery efforts after Hurricane Katrina devastated the Gulf region in 2005. In the wake of multiple devastating hurricanes over the past few years, General Honore can offer us words of wisdom, a reminder of our legacy about leading, persevering, and coming together amid crisis, similar to how we have seen over the past few weeks. Please help me welcome retired Lieutenant General Russel Honore.
Thank you very much. And to the Congressional Black Caucus, thank you for this opportunity. To Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee for your outstanding leadership in the middle of a disaster. But to everybody else out here, now it's time to spend some money. Get that phone out, go to text, find some young person next to you. Because the challenge is on. I'm going to speak for about 6 minutes. And that's time enough for you to do it. You can go in there and hit that $100 button, and I challenge every man in the room. If you're a leader, by the time I get through speaking, use that phone not to take a selfie, but to commit yourself to help people in need tonight. You know, the tone of this nation, I was hoping would be a tone of restoration, to restore those who have lost their homes because of these great storms of Harvey, Irene, Irma, Big Irma, and now Rita. But somehow we have lost the moment nationally by other conversations. But I hope this body here tonight will show your leadership in supporting people. Many of them tonight are literally hanging on to the side of their homes and in shelters because of the devastation of these storms. That we would commit ourselves, people in this room, to be better prepared. Because when the storm comes, it will take your roof off too. Are you prepared? Are you willing to sacrifice and do the things we need to help our nation prepare? Because more storms will come. Let's help the people of Houston. I saw what happened in Houston. Let's help the people in Florida. We all watched it on television. And tonight, right in the Virgin Islands, we have a half-hearted effort The people in the Virgin Islands need our help. They're underwater. There's a dam about to break. And yet the White House is talking bullshit. Now is the time to act. If it doesn't hurt, you're not sacrificing. And as an old soldier, if you're not sacrificing, you're not leading. If you're not willing to give something up to help somebody else, you're not leading. You might be doing some sophisticated form of some type of damn management, but you ain't leading. If you don't go to bed tonight a little bit edgy about what you didn't get done, you're not leading. And ladies and gentlemen, we had a challenge from this stage last year over there, and somebody asked us to lead. And you know what? We didn't lead good enough. We didn't sacrifice enough. And you see what the hell we got today. Let's stop being stuck on stupid. Every year, 15,000 of our people are killed by guns, 300 a day. It is ridiculous. 53% of them are our people. 53%. So when I say put those damn guns down, it means all of us. The other point is, if our kids don't get to reading, they will not pick the right place to live. They will live where other people tell them to live. They will live in the flood zone. In Louisiana, we incarcerate more people than any other state. In the biggest jail in Louisiana, the majority of the men in there cannot read. If these young men don't learn how to read at fourth grade level, by the time they're 10 years old, they have a 50% chance to have a run-in with the law by the time they're 14. So these disasters we face are Mother Nature, but they're man-made. Let's get on with educating and teaching our kids how to read. And if you haven't asked your own kid to read something to you, go look in the damn mirror, because you're a part of the problem. Okay? We're going to give you a little bit longer to get that text out, because tonight, the big show is still to come. I thank all of you. Remember, we're in the restoration mode. Let's help those in need that's been devastated by these storms through your generosity. And if it don't hurt, you ain't giving enough, because you should have to sacrifice something to do what you can to help our fellow Americans. May God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much.
I'm scared to thank him. Thank you, General Honore. Got another shout out. Shout out to Howard University's football team for getting in Bethune-Cookman's behind today, 26-24. HU. All right. Thank you, General Honore. Such a great example of leadership, honor, and public service. Ladies and gentlemen, please contribute to the CBCF's Hurricane Relief Fund. Text CBCF to 56512. That's CBCF 56512.
And since we're shouting out HBCUs, any Morgan State in the house? All right, Morgan State University.
You didn't even let them three people say nothing. You just, hold on, watch this. HU. Enough said. Enough said, April, enough said.
So you don't want me to say what I'm getting ready to say. Morgan is a bear. Howard is a bison. Bears eat bison.
Only in an uncivilized world.
Either way, you know we have love for all of our HBCUs. Yes. But bears do eat bison. Anyway, moving on. We're now at the point in the program where we meet our congressional leaders. But we can't do that without first introducing the men and women who partner with them every day to serve their constituents and the nation. Of course, I'm referring to the Congressional Black Caucus spouses. They are the unsung heroes who, in the midst of excelling in their own careers, working on CBCF projects and helping to run their households, and also the support systems and thought partners of our congressional representatives. I'd say they deserve acknowledgement for their service, wouldn't you?
Yep.
You can do better than that, come on. All right. On that note, I'd like to invite the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus Spouses Organization to bring you greetings. Please give a very warm round of applause to Mrs. Tanya Vesey.
We can do better than that for the spouses. Come on now. Thank you all, and I'm proud to bring you warm greetings on behalf of the Congressional Black Caucus spouses. I am pleased to say that the number of Congressional Caucus members continue to grow, and I'm equally pleased that we have many more men among the spouses these days. I'd like all the fellow spouses to stand and be recognized, please. Thank you all for your service. The CBC Spouses Organization works closely with the CBC Foundation to invest in our young people and in the arts. That is certainly important as we deeply appreciate the support we've received from many of you who support our events and scholarship programs. So thank you very much. While many of us have our own careers and achievements, we understand the value of being spouses. We recognize that partnerships with a soulmate beyond the romantic experiences and the warm family moments, which are wonderful, but we can greatly impact what a person can achieve, not just for themselves, but for our community, society, and world. It is not an insignificant role for us to play. This year, I'd like to simply remind each of you that love, commitment, perseverance, and relationships make a difference in the world. Whether your spouse is a public servant, works for any other position in life, Black communities are stronger with solid relationships, families, and extended families. As we think about this year's conference theme, "And Still I Rise," I'd like us to remind ourselves that despite the circumstances that have fractured our families over the past few decades, we come from people who believe in family, villages, and tribes as a means to survive, thrive, and move the next generation forward. I'd like to also challenge us to remember to invest in our relationships. No matter what form they take, our children and young adults need to see our examples of compassion, compromise, unconditional love, and support as a necessary ingredient for our ongoing progress as a people. We live in a world where strangers tear each other down online, and there is plenty of drama and dysfunction in relationships we see with the media. We have lots of time for FaceTime and Instagram and Twitter, but not enough time to actually look at each other and check on each other. As you leave this conference, go back to your lives. I encourage you to remember that you contribute to our collective process and the ways you show up in your relationships. If you are blessed to be someone's spouse, I hope you will be mindful and focus even more on your opportunity to be a part of their success. And I hope you will ask for what you need and support your dreams and aspirations as well. It is a two-way street. that action can have an effect far beyond what happens inside your household. It can have generational and global impact. So on behalf of the Congressional Black Caucus spouses, Congressman Mark Vesey, and our 11-year-old Adam Clayton, thank you for coming and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Mrs. Vesey, for that important reminder. And now we're at the time of our program when we get to see and celebrate our leadership in Congress. It is a testament to, a reminder of the collective power we have in our government, and a reminder of what we can harness with our own participation.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the incomparable men and women known as the Congressional Black Caucus. Representative John Conyers, Jr., 13th District of Michigan. Representative John Lewis, 5th District of Georgia. Representative Eleanor Holmes Norton, District of Columbia. Representative Maxine Waters, 43rd District of California. Representative Sanford Bishop, Jr., 2nd District of Georgia. Representative Eddie Bernice Johnson, 30th District of Texas. Representative Bobby L. Rush, 1st District of Illinois. Representative Bobby C. Scott, 3rd District of Virginia. Representative Benny G. Thompson, 2nd District of Mississippi. Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, 18th District of Texas. Representative Elijah E. Cummings, 7th District of Maryland. Representative Danny K. Davis, 7th District of Illinois. Representative Gregory W. Meeks, 5th District of New York. Representative Barbara Lee, 13th District of California. Representative Lacey Clay, 1st District of Missouri. Representative David Scott, 13th District of Georgia. Representative G.K. Butterfield, 1st District of North Carolina. Representative Emmanuel Cleaver II, 5th District, Missouri. Representative Al Green, 9th District of Texas. Representative Gwen S. Moore, 4th District of Wisconsin. Representative Yvette D. Clark, 9th District of New York. Representative Hank Johnson, 4th District of Georgia. Representative Andre Carson, 7th District of Indiana. Representative Marcia Fudge, 11th District of Ohio. Representative Karen Bass, 37th District of California. Representative Cedric L. Richmond, 2nd District of Louisiana. Representative Terry A. Sewell, 7th District of Alabama. Representative Frederica S. Wilson, 24th District of Florida. Representative Joyce Beatty, 3rd District of Ohio. Representative Hakeem Jeffries, 8th District of New York. Representative Mark Vesey, 33rd District of Texas. Representative Robin Kelly, 2nd District of Illinois. Senator Cory Booker of New Jersey. Representative Alma Adams, 12th District of North Carolina. Representative Brenda Lawrence, 14th District of Michigan. Representative Mia Love, 4th District of Utah. Delegate Stacy Plaskett of Virgin Islands. Representative Dwight Evans, 2nd District of Pennsylvania. Senator Kamala Harris of California. Representative Lisa Blunt Rochester, Delaware at large. Representative Anthony Brown, 4th District of Maryland. Representative Val Demings, 10th District of Florida. Representative Al Lawson, 5th District of Florida. Representative Donald McEachin, 4th District of Virginia. Ladies and gentlemen, please thank the women and men of the Congressional Black Caucus.
right, before we move on, we have a little housekeeping to do. First one, Sabrina Venice Govan, your pumpkin misses you. Pumpkin, doesn't know what that means, but that's what it says. We've also been asking you to text donations all night. Now we're going to see how much we have raised. Let's see the thermometer, please. Is there a thermometer up? It's over on that side? Okay. I can't see it, so how does it look? Oh, we're up to $5,000?
You can do better.
That means an average, because it's 5,000 of y'all in here, that means y'all each pledged $1. We're only up to $5,000 with 5,000 people in here. Actually, not even $5,000, $4,486.
That's that HBCU education right there. Look
Yes,
at
it
that.
is. Let's keep it going. Let's see how much we can raise by the end of the night. Now, we will now present the Congressional Black Caucuses. What's the plural of caucus? Is it caucus?
Caucus.
It's just caucus? But what if there's a plethora of caucuses? Is it caucus?
No, it's caucus.
It's just caucus?
Caucus.
Because like campus is campi.
No.
Yes, octopus is octopi.
Campus.
No, it's campi.
Okay.
Come on, woman. No wonder that dude got mad at you at the White House.
Ooh! You know what?
That's that Morgan State education
But
right
but
there.
wait a minute. But it takes a Howard person to make you do a photo bomb with the CBC? What's that? He had me looking like I was a CBC member.
Yeah, either that or you wouldn't have got your picture taken tonight. I was looking out for you.
But see, that's what gets me in trouble because I don't know all the members of the CBC.
Neither do I.
But I'm getting to learn them.
You getting to learn them?
Yes.
All right. We will now present the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation Phoenix Awards. They're called the Phoenix Awards in honor of Representative George Henry White of North Carolina, who served in the Congress from 1897 through 1901. Representative White was the last of nearly 40 African Americans who served in Congress after emancipation and Reconstruction, all of whom were strategically removed from office through systematic voting, disenfranchisement of African Americans during the Jim Crow era. In his departing speech on the House floor, he said, and I quote, "This is perhaps the Negro's temporary farewell to the American Congress. But let me say, Phoenix-like, he will rise up someday and come again."
Yes, you can clap for that. Today, there are 49 members of Congress who caucus to serve the interests of the African American community, the African diaspora, and the interests of Americans as a whole. The Phoenix Awards program is the effort of the Congressional Black Caucus and the CBC Foundation to recognize individuals who represent the highest achievements, ideals, and interests of people of descent, African descent everywhere. And the first two Phoenix Awards of the evening will be presented to honorees who were selected by the annual Legislative Conference co-chairs. The Co-Chairs Award is presented to an individual who exemplifies leadership and social responsibility on a national level. The first ALC Co-Chair Award is presented to Tamika D. Mallory.
Her tagline states, "My work is my bio." Tamika D. Mallory, an esteemed social justice leader, advocate, and activist. Ms. Mallory has been applauded as a leader of tomorrow by Senior Advisor to President Barack Obama, Valerie B. Jarrett. Her astounding integrity, driven leadership, and campaign for quality and judicial reform has deemed her a significant force among government officers, policymakers, and other community advocates. From her position as the former executive director of the National Action Network to her instrumental role in creating New York City's crisis management system, an official gun violence prevention program that awards nearly $27 million to violence prevention organizations annually. Ms. Mallory is stitched into the fabric of the new revolution for civil rights, but it was when she stepped onto the public stage as one of 4 co-chairs for the Women's March on Washington that she became internationally recognized as an integral voice for civil rights, social justice, and the new wave of feminism. The Women's March was recorded as having participation from 5 million people worldwide, thus landing Ms. Mallory on the 2017 Time 100 Pioneers list, as well as Fortune's 2017 list of the world's greatest leaders. As the president of Mallory Consulting, a strategic planning and event management firm, she has worked with Fortune 500 corporations and organizations on flagship projects related to mass incarceration, gun violence, and police brutality. Ms. Mallory has made the fight for equity her life's work, and she continues this work as an active constituent of the Justice League New York City and as a board member of the Gathering for Justice organization. Tamika D. Mallory is without a doubt a change agent for the future of our country. The Congressional Black Caucus Foundation is pleased to present the 2017 ALC Co-Chairs Phoenix Award to Ms. Tamika D. Mallory in recognition of her exemplary leadership and profound impact on social justice and civil rights advocacy.
Congresswoman Robin Kelly will present the first ALC Co-Chairs Award to a woke woman, Tamika D. Mallory.
Thank you all. Thank you so much. I am overwhelmed to be standing before you this evening. Thank you so much to Congresswoman Kelly and also to Congressman Mark Vesey, the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, Cedric Richmond, the CBC Foundation chairwoman, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, and all the members of the Congressional Black Caucus. Thank you for this humbling recognition. We all look fabulous here tonight. And it is nothing short of amazing to be in this room among my peers, my friends, my colleagues, and fellow visionaries who are bold, purpose-driven, and determined. But tonight is not about how we look or even who we are, as much as it is what we do. My mentor, Hazel N. Dukes, reminds me all the time that it is what we do, the action we take, and the challenges we overcome that gives us privilege. It is without a doubt a privilege to be in rooms like this, particularly when you look back over the journey from which our people come. My journey, however, did not begin with the Women's March. And while it was a great historic day that I shared with my sisters, Linda Sarsour, Carmen Perez, Bob Bland, Janae Ingram, and so many others, many of which are in this room. It was a day that will be recorded as American history, where over 5 million people marched worldwide. But yet it is the work that I've done in the trenches for almost 20 years of my life that I would like to be remembered for. Holding the hand of a 4-year-old young boy's mother who was burying her son because he was shot on a playground. It is the late night calls with Lucia Macbeth, the mother of Jordan Davis, Geneva Reed Veal, the mother of Sandra Bland, Gwen Carr, the mother of Eric Garner, who I saw in this room this evening, Sabrina Fulton, the mother of Trayvon Martin. That work sums up my life. It is the work that I've done alongside my brother, Myson Lennon, to support formerly incarcerated individuals. The days when I felt exhausted and like I had nothing else to give. And you all know about those days, when we feel like we've done everything, we've given all we have, and yet injustice prevails. But we get up and we keep pushing, don't we, Roland Martin? And we keep doing what we have to do because we know it is not about us, but yet it is about our people. So we know we must stand up. We must fight back. We must speak on behalf of those whose light has been dimmed by an unjust society. We've been given a privilege to speak on behalf of God's children, and that is what makes us great, brothers and sisters. Not our zip codes, not our cars, not our networks, and not even how fabulous we stand tonight, but it is our sacrifice, and that is what makes this night great for me. You know, the Phoenix was not legendary until it burned and rose from the ashes. We in this room and beyond, we in the struggle for justice and equity, we as Black people are great because we continue to rise from the ashes over and over and over again. We are the phoenixes of our time, and our greatness is ever evolving, but it's what we do for Ray Ray, whose pants is hanging down low, that will matter. Thank you, brothers and sisters. Thank you for acknowledging me. They want us to pick it up and take a picture.
The second ALC Co-Chairs Award is presented to the Honorable Ron Kirk.
There are few visionaries who have had an impact on the growth of the nation's largest state, one of its biggest cities, as well as U.S. trade around the world. Ambassador Ron Kirk is that visionary. Ambassador Kirk, a graduate of the University of Texas School of Law School, has touched every level of Texas politics. He was appointed as Secretary of State by Governor Ann Richards. He served as legislative aide to U.S. Senator Lloyd Bentsen, and he was named chair of Texas's General Service Commission. As the first African-American elected mayor of Dallas, he galvanized diverse coalitions to conquer the city's challenges and expand Dallas's reach by developing trade relations around the world. Ambassador Kirk also served as a City of Dallas assistant attorney. His success in international trade brought him to the attention of President Barack Obama, who nominated him as the first African American to serve as U.S. Trade Representative. Ambassador Kirk was also a member of President Obama's cabinet, serving as the principal trade advisor, negotiator, and spokesman on trade issues. His trade accomplishments include the ongoing multilateral trade negotiations with 17 countries, which have free trade agreements with the United States. He has been recognized by the National Law Journal and received the University of Texas Distinguished Alumni Award, the Woodrow Wilson Center's Outstanding Public Service Award, and the Austin College Distinguished Alumni Award. Ambassador Kirk also received an honorary Doctor of Humane Letters degree from Austin College and the Mickey Leland Leadership Award from Texas Southern University. The Congressional Black Caucus Foundation is pleased to present the 2017 ALC Co-Chairs Phoenix Award to Ambassador Ron Kirk for his steadfast commitment to international trade diplomacy and for his belief that trade is the strongest key to unlocking jobs and growth for the American economy and global prosperity.
Ladies and gentlemen, Congressman Mark Vesey will present the second ALC Co-Chairs Award to the Honorable Ron Kirk.
Thank you, Mark, and thank the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation and the members of the Congressional Black Caucus, not so much for this award, but for your steadfast commitment to being and remaining the conscience of our Congress. I have to start by thanking my wife, Matrice, who's here with me. My career in public service has spanned almost 22 of our 30 years, soon to be 30 years of marriage. And as Congresswoman Vesey's lovely wife reminded us, this is a partnership. And those of us who are privileged to serve could not do so without the strong support of someone who loves and nourishes and encourages us. And I've had that privilege for the last 30 years, so thank you. I want to thank the caucus for your tacit acknowledgement that trade is not a four-letter word. I also have to take a moment and thank President Barack Obama for the privilege of appointing me, for the privilege and the honor of appointing me as the 16th United States Trade Representative, but also challenging me to craft a new trade policy that embraced the reality and the anxieties of America's families, that we want jobs here. And we want trade policy that's fair and more balanced, but also accepted the hard reality that 90% of the world's consumers now live somewhere other than the United States. And we cannot disengage from the world. You have heard so many speakers tonight speak to the theme of our rise and our collective responsibility to stay on the battlefield. I just want to leave you with one proverb that guided my public service when I was mayor. One of my favorite African proverbs is pretty simple, and it says, "You should take no comfort from the hole in my end of the boat." Now, we've seen that by our response to what's happening in Houston and what's happening to the Virgin Islands, but we have to live that promise every day of our lives. Because if America is going to be all that we want it to be, then we have to be all that we deserve to be. So I ask that we leave here resolved to make sure that we continue to bend that moral arc toward justice. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Our next award is entitled the Harold Washington Phoenix Award. Yes, the Harold Washington Award is presented to an individual who has contributed to African American political awareness, empowerment, and the advancement of minorities in the electoral process. The honoree for this award is selected by the Congressional Black Caucus membership. This year's honoree is Congressman Benny G. Thompson.
Congressman Benny G. Thompson is the longest-serving African-American elected official in the state of Mississippi and the lone Democrat in the Mississippi Congressional Delegation. Thompson represents Mississippi's 2nd Congressional District, where he spent his entire life fighting to improve the lives of all people. Born in a state with a unique history of racial inequality, Congressman Benny G. Thompson draws inspiration from the legacies of Medgar Evers, Fannie Lou Hamer, Aaron Henry, and Henry Kirksey. The Bolton, Mississippi native considers it an honor to walk the path Mississippi civil rights icons paved decades ago. He began his grassroots political activism, being a civil rights champion, through the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee while at Tougaloo College. During his tenure educating the youth of Mississippi, a fire inside of Thompson was ignited, pushing him to be a voice for the voiceless through elected office. His record of effective problem solving and coalition building as alderman and mayor of his hometown served as the bedrock for his election to Congress in 1993, representing Mississippi's largest congressional district, comprising the state's capital city, Jackson, and the Mississippi Delta. Congressman Thompson has channeled his passion for public service into action. In 2000, he authored legislation creating the National Center for Minority Health and Healthcare Disparities, which subsequently became law. After Hurricane Katrina ravaged the state of Mississippi, he aggressively advocated for disaster relief improvements within government agencies and provided oversight to ensure that federal funds were properly allocated for Gulf Coast recovery. In 2006, Thompson's Washington colleagues expressed their overwhelming confidence in his leadership abilities and selected him to serve as the first Democratic chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee. As chairman, Thompson introduced and engineered passage of the most comprehensive Homeland Security package since September 11, 2001, H.R. 1, the 9/11 Commission Recommendations Act of 2007. The congressman has also served on the Agriculture, Budget, and Small Business Committees while working to level the playing field. Thompson employs a progressive and realistic approach to overcome persistent disparities while being the unabashed champion for civil rights, education, and healthcare delivery in Mississippi. The Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, Incorporated, is pleased to present the 2017 Harold Washington Phoenix Award to U.S. Representative Benny Thompson of Mississippi in recognition of his immeasurable contributions to African American political awareness, empowerment, and advancement of minorities in the electoral process.
ALC co-chairs Congresswoman Kelly and Congressman Vesey will present the Harold Washington Award to Congressman Benny G. Thompson.
Thank you, CBC. Thank you, CBCF. Let me thank all of you for being here this evening and watching me get this very nice award. Those of you who know me know that I'm kind of the person that works behind the scenes, like to get it done. Before I mess up, let me introduce my wife of 49 years, London Thompson. My daughter, grandson, granddaughter, all the folk. But you know, this award means quite a lot to me. As a lifelong Mississippian whose mother taught his father how to write his name, whose father died never having the ability to cast a vote because he died when it was illegal for black people to register and vote in the state of Mississippi. So we've come a long way. But in the spirit of Fannie Lou Hamer, Medgar Evers, Harold Washington, I accept this award. But more importantly, I accept the challenge of us that we still have work to do. More importantly, as they say in the South, you always have to remember the bridges that got you over. You always have to remember what side your bread is brown on. But more importantly, you should never, ever forget the people who sent you here to serve. With that, I rise.
Is it me or is that band loud? Our next award this evening is the Congressional Black Caucus Chair Award. This award is presented each year to an individual who exhibits the highest standards of dedication, ability, and creativity. This year's CBC Chairs Award honoree is Miss Ruby Bridges.
Ruby Bridges Hall stepped into the pages of history on her very first day of school in 1960. Flanked by U.S. federal marshals, little Ruby bravely endured hateful shouts from protesters and rejection from parents who refused to let their children share her classroom. At great cost to her parents and grandparents, Ruby attended school every day, the only child in her class. Her memoir, Through My Eyes, published in 1999, is an intimate look at her experience as the only black child at Franz Elementary School. She continues to push social boundaries, showing up consistently to advocate for justice and equality. As chair of the nonprofit Ruby Bridges Foundation, she promotes the values of tolerance, respect, and appreciation of all differences. Beginning at Franz Elementary, she initiated programs to increase multicultural understanding through the arts and community service. She travels the country, inspiring children and educators to, in Emerson's words, go where there is no path and leave a trail. Mrs. Bridges Hall promotes a firm belief in the purity of the hearts of children and calls on adults to cease teaching hate and division. In that vein, she advocates a rewriting of America's history textbooks to include a full history of the challenges and contributions of Americans of every ethnicity. She has received numerous awards and recognitions, including the Presidential Citizens Medal from President Bill Clinton in 2001 and a 2012 honorary degree from Tulane University. Ruby Bridges Hall remains a foot soldier for justice in America's schools. The 2017 CBC Chair's Phoenix Award is being presented to Mrs. Ruby Bridges Hall for her fearless leadership and willingness to confront segregation head-on in the New Orleans school system.
Congressman Cedric Richmond will present the CBC Chair's Award to Ms. Ruby Bridges.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for that warm welcome. As I look over the room, I'm reminded of something that my granny used to say. She used to say, "Honey, you're in high cotton tonight." And I have to say that I honestly feel that way. I'd like to take a moment to thank the members of the Congressional Black Caucus, and especially to my congressman, Congressman Richmond, for this incredible acknowledgement and award. I really, really appreciate it. You know, I'm often reminded of how brave everyone thought I was back in 1960 when I was 6. But I have to admit that I didn't feel very brave back then. I have to also admit that what I have been doing is just being obedient. And I do know that it takes a lot of courage to obey the voice of God. Tonight, I want to accept this award on behalf of my parents, two ordinary people that were not civil rights activists, but sharecroppers from a little tiny town in Mississippi who only wanted something better for their children, a better education, because for them education was a luxury. But they also knew that if they wanted to see change and wanted something better, that they had to step up to the plate and do it themselves. They instilled that in me, and I live that every day. So tonight, I really, really want to acknowledge them, to thank them by accepting this award on their behalf. One other thing that my granny used to say, "Honey, Like cream, you will always rise. So tonight, still I rise. And I thank you so much for this award. God bless.
Our final Phoenix Award is the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation Chairs Award. The Foundation's Chairs Award is presented to an individual whose work and accomplishments stand as a role model for the African American community and the African diaspora. This evening, we honor Dr. Thomas Freeman with the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation's Chair Award.
The Honors College of Houston's Texas Southern University bears the name of Dr. Thomas F. Freeman, 65-year veteran professor, champion debate coach, and pastor. Dr. Freeman is a timeless orator who embodies both genteel grace and formidable power. He commands a sense of principled humanity expressed in his words. My concern is not for winning awards, but for developing persons. It's the joy of seeing a young person evolve into greatness. That's what drives me. As consultant on the 2007 Denzel Washington film The Great Debaters, Dr. Freeman worked close to his classroom, refusing to leave his students for the glamour of Hollywood. Distinguished Professor of Forensics, Director of the Honors College, and head coach of the TSU debate team, Dr. Freeman has led his students to victory in countless forensic competitions around the world. Thousands of young people have benefited from his holistic spiritual and educational tutelage. Many former students have become leaders in their fields, including social giants Dr. Martin Luther King and U.S. Representative Barbara Jordan. A college graduate at 18, a professor in his early 20s, internationally educated in Europe and Africa, Dr. Freeman is still driven at age 98. As one comment on his very active Facebook page declares, Dr. Freeman is a triple threat, 60-plus years of service at TSU as debate coach, 60-plus years as pastor of Mount Horeb NBC, and 60-plus years as the husband of Clarice Freeman. He is an incredible light and example for us all. The Congressional Black Caucus Foundation Incorporated is pleased to present the 2017 CBCF Chairs Phoenix Award to Dr. Thomas F. Freeman in recognition for his profound influence on our nation as a legendary educator and prolific scholar, and for his long-standing commitment to improving the quality of life for Black students that will leave a significant and lasting impression for generations to come.
Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee will present the CBCF Chairs Award to Dr. Thomas Freeman.
On behalf of my wife, Clarice, my daughter, Carlotta, my sister, Elsie, my nephew, Jantonia, and Audie, all of whom are here, I say thank you. Words are inadequate to express my gratitude to my Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee for her initiative in making all of this possible. Thank you, Sheila. As I witnessed all that was taking place, I was reminded of the words of Bertrand Bailey. If with pleasure you are viewing any work that a man or woman is doing, tell him or her now. Do not wait. Do not wait until the parson makes oration and she lies snowy in her snowy grave. For it matters not how loud you shout it. He or she won't know a thing about it. For he or she cannot read their tombstone when they're dead. Thank you.
Tell them how old you are.
When I was introduced a few nights ago, Congressman Sheila said that I was 90 and counting. The truth of the matter is that I am 98 and still counting. My future is limited. Yours, unlimited. But in the days that lie ahead, the challenges that face us today must be met by you. And may this assemblage serve as a challenge to each of you to remember that really they don't have our best interest in mind. We must do it ourselves and everywhere stand up to the challenge of our democratic society, working in such a way that we make America what it was intended to be in the first place. The land of the free and the home of the brave.
Wow. Are you having a good time? It's now quite a special opportunity for me to present our speaker. But as I do that, I would like to invite a true friend of the CBC and the CBCF to help me introduce our keynote speaker, Lynn Whitfield. Would you welcome her to the podium? The person that we're about to introduce It certainly can be compared to the words of George White, "The Negro will rise like the phoenix." That is our next speaker. I'm thrilled to bring the two of you together this evening. He hardly needs an introduction, but he is worthy of us acknowledging his contributions to our national thought leadership and the preparation of the next generation to lead our movement forward with courage, compassion, and intelligence. He is a popular professor, sociology professor at Georgetown University, having innovated with a course entitled Sociology of Hip Hop, Erman Theodicey of Jay-Z, and subsequent courses focusing on Beyonce, Kendrick Lamar, and Black writers on white identity. He is a New York Times contributing opinion writer and a contributing editor of The New Republic, Elle magazine, and of ESPN's The Undefeated website. He has authored 19 books. Most are award-winning and bestsellers, including Holla If You Hear Me, Come Hell or High Water, Black Presidency, and his most recent title, Tears We Cannot Stop. He is a respected political analyst and public speaker. Dr. Dyson has won many prestigious honors, including an American Book Award, the NAACP Image Award twice. He is a native of Detroit and an ordained minister. If you didn't know now, you know this is a serious brother with a very serious message worth hearing. He is also a friend, as I said, of the CBC, coming to Congresswoman Joyce Beatty's session during the CBC almost every single year. And who are we welcoming to the podium?
I have an easy job. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome a man who's carrying us forward right now, Michael Eric Dyson.
Thank you so kindly to Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, one of the great lions of this United States Congress, and to the gracious Lynn Whitfield for their double action introduction. I want to thank Congressman Richmond and Congresswoman Kelly for their extraordinary generosity and their tremendous leadership in leading us forward. I want to thank my dear friend, Congresswoman Joyce Beatty, for her stirring advocacy, not only for her district and for me, but for this nation. I want to thank my mother in spirit, Susan Taylor, the Queen of Black America. Amen. And my son, Dr. Mawada Dyson, is here. He is an anesthesiologist, but now he's got a new business, the IV vitamin and hydration. And if you get a little unsober tonight, he can hook you up on Nutra-Lounge-Lounge.com. Check him out. He's here. If you had a little bit too much bubbly, he can settle you down. And the Reverend Marcia Dyson is here, is the new CEO and trustee of the House of Mandela Family Foundation, tasked with carrying that great man's legacy into the 21st century. I'm honored to be here tonight. I've sat here for so many years listening to speakers extol the virtues of our culture and community. And tonight I want to reflect briefly
on that theme, Still I Rise. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Want to not only reflect on that, I want to reflect on the words of another poet. Trayvon will never get to be an older man. Black children, children stole from them, robbed of our names and our language, stole again. Who stole the soul from black folk? Same man that stole the land from Chief Black Smoke and made the whip crackle on our back slow. Rashid, better known as Common, Grammy and Oscar winner. Then finally, from the book, Behold, I Show You a Mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. You heard that I'm a professor. I want to give you a little homework assignment. It will become clear later on what it means, but I'm meeting with the big white folk at my book company on Monday morning, and if my book happens to do very well that day, I might get rewarded. So I'm going to ask y'all at the right moment, I'm going to say, what's the name of my book? And the name of it is Tears We Cannot Stop. And then I'm going to ask you what you're going to do. You're going to say, we're going to buy it on Amazon tonight. All right? So, look, as the great philosopher Sean Corey Carter said, dang though, man, I'm just trying to do me. If the record's $2 million, I'm just trying to move 3. I might add, I'm not selling books like, say, Ta-Nehisi, but I'm trying to get my coats on so I can be as hot as I can be. What I want to do tonight, then, is to reflect on this great theme of Still I Rise. The first reason we focus on rising is because there's somebody trying to pull us down. We are told that we are a great people, but we tell ourselves that in spite of what others have said about us. From the very beginning, we have lived in what Gore Vidal called the United States of Amnesia. And Barbra Streisand has supplied the theme song, What's Too Painful to Remember, We Simply Choose to Forget. And yet, from slavery on, the dehumanization of black people has been the basic and fundamental tribute of American society to our blackness, and yet despite that, we have persisted in the face of their lethal resistance. Not only from slavery, but on to Reconstruction. During Reconstruction, when we got a brief window of opportunity, and yet white supremacy rose, and a lot of folk are confused about what white supremacy is. White supremacy is the conscious or unconscious belief in the inherent or inferiority of some and the intrinsic superiority of others. Just because of the color of your skin, you are seen to be either good or bad, smart or dumb. And so white supremacy has ruled and reigned in America from the very beginning. This ain't nothing new. And so during Reconstruction, we got a brief window of opportunity, and yet that window was closed, and post-Reconstruction was the attempt, according to one general, to return black people to a second slavery. And from that time on, folk have told us in this country that we would be second-class citizens, and they have told us to get over slavery. Well, they don't tell other groups to get over the stuff they've been through. And yet it seems that the American Negro, the African in America, black folk, are told constantly to get over our suffering, and yet the remnants of slavery persist with us. The vicious beliefs about black intelligence, the skepticism about black humanity are still with us. And so we rise despite what they have said about us. We rise because we are a people who have believed in God. We are a people who believed in the Spirit ruling over us and walking with us, and despite the kind of things we confront, we go ahead, and so we see the current and contemporary resurgence of white supremacy. We prepared for that. That ain't nothing new to us. We know what that's like. We know what it means to get called of our name. We know what it is. We know what it means for somebody to see us and see an example of the very thing that they thought would not succeed, and yet we kept on coming. We kept on rising. We kept on learning. We kept on being smart. We kept on talking. We kept on walking. We kept on rising. And so now, let's be honest about it. We ain't got to tell no lie. Part of what we see now with the resurgence of what's going on in Charlottesville, white racism and white supremacy and resentment of blackness, hating Jews and gays and lesbians and transgenders and bisexual, and hating on all kind of folk who ain't them. We know what that is. Part of that has been driven by the fact that for the last 8 years, they had a central black presence in the United States of America. They mad because, and I don't know why they mad at that man. He was one of the nicest black people you ever gonna meet. He ain't raised his voice at him. He ain't cussed him out. He ain't called him no SOB. He ain't used inappropriate language when he should have, when he could have. I wish he would have come out the crib someday with a skull cap on, with a gold grill on, in a terry cloth robe, getting his newspaper. Yeah, I'm living in public housing. That's a bad crib. I wish he would have got mad sometimes. You know, when he was giving the last State of the Union, the one before the last, and he talking and he said, I ain't got no more races to run, and they got all happy. He said, that's because I done beat you twice. Let me be his anger translator. Look, I done whipped you twice. What else can I do? That's all I got. And they mad at him because he's highly intelligent and gifted and married a show enough can't be miss serious black woman. Huh? They on that ebony and ivory tip with they 2 kids in the White House. He walking down the Air Force One like he got 50 Cent playing in the background. I don't know what you heard about me, but the GOP can't get a dollar out of me. No perms or Cadillac you can't see, because I'm a PIMP. That would be president imbued with moral principles. Now the man that got the job just mad. Mad because you ain't him, mad because you can't be him, and you dogged him out, saying he wasn't truly an American, and you trying to call everybody else who disagrees with you an un-American. We gave blood in this nation. You're defending a Confederate that uses a flag that tried to divorce the nation. We ain't done nothing but loved America from the very beginning. Preternaturally adolescent, inveterately, inconceivably ignorant, proud to be unmolested by enlightenment and untrammelled by serious learning. You just proud to be dumb. Don't never complain about affirmative action begin. Again, in this country, we got the most mediocre head in the history of this nation. And so we rise because folk are trying to keep us down. And why is it that white folk are resentful, thinking that black folk and brown folk and yellow folk are getting all the goodies? Look, the top 400 people who are rich in this nation have more wealth than all of black America and 1/3 of Latino America combined. We ain't running nothing but prisons as members of the community. Our kids are kicked out earlier from school. We are in the prison in massive numbers. We are disregarded when it comes to everything, and yet people think that black folk have got over because we didn't earn it. We have earned everything we have done. In my generation, they said you had to be twice as smart just to get up in the dough. So we rise because we have always risen. Even when we didn't have any learning that was formal, we had God giving us the sense through the Spirit to keep on going, and ain't nobody else gonna turn us around. That's why sometimes these young people ask me why you use them big words. I said, I use big words you don't understand to fight people who don't understand you. I use long sentences that you can't read so that a judge won't read you a long sentence and send you to jail. I ain't no rapper, I ain't no ball player, I'm a wordsmith. I slang words. I write books like Negroes write hooks. What's the name of my book? That's it. What y'all gonna do? Let me tell you what, the second reason we got to rise is we got to give an example for our children. What they gonna think about us if we too scared to get up? That's why I'm glad these ball players are speaking out. If the only balls you got are on the field, you already lost the game. You got to stand up because Jackie Robinson stood up. You got to stand up because Joe Louis stood up. You got to stand up because Wilma Rudolph stand up. You got to stand up before Althea Gibson stood up. You got to stand up because Muhammad Ali stand up. So stand up in the face of this ignorance and represent your people well. That's why I love these young men and women who are doing their rap thing. I know some of y'all don't dig it, but I know y'all dance to it anyhow. Used to fuss when the landlord dissed us. No heat, wondered why. Birthdays was the worst days, now we sip. Damn right I like the life I live, cause I went from, and it's all good, and if you don't know, Biggie also said back in the days our parents used to take care of us. Look at them now, they're even scared of us, calling the state for help because they can't maintain. Darn things done changed. If I wasn't in the rap game, I'd probably have a key knee deep in the crack game, because the streets is a shortstop. Either you're slinging crack rock or you got a wicked jump shot. Damn, it's hard being young from the slums, eating 5-cent gums, not knowing where your meal's coming from. What happened to the summertime cookout? Every time I turn around, a brother's getting took out. You got to listen to them. Listen to the Jay when he said, God forgive me for my brash delivery, but I remember vividly what these streets did to me. When he said, now all my teachers couldn't reach me, but my mama couldn't beat me hard enough to match the pain of my pop not seeing me. So with that disdain in my membrane, got on a pimp game, blank the world, my defense came. Lauryn Hill said, even after all my logic and my theory, I add a cuss word so you ignorant people hear me. Talib said, these cats drink champagne, toast death and plain, like slaves on a ship bragging about who got the flyest chain. Listen to what Mos Def said. You can laugh and criticize Michael Jackson if you wanna. Woody Allen molested and married his stepdaughter. Same press kicking dirt on Michael's name show Woody and Sonya at the playoff game. Now sit back and think about that. Would they get the same dap if his name was Woody Black? OJ acquitted by jury of his peers. They've been messing with that Negro for the last 20 years. Is it fair? Is it equal? Is it just? Is it right? Do we do the same thing if the defendant's face is white? White boys doing it well as success. I start doing it well as suspect. They say they want you successful, but then they make it stressful. You start keeping pace, they start changing up the tempo. All I'm saying is listen to your kids, because they're trying to tell you something. That's why we got to have a better example than what we got. Somebody getting up using digital media to bully other people, to beat up on private citizens. Ain't that a shame? I was reading a book the other day, talked about karaoke culture. where unlimited, unstinted narcissists impose themselves on somebody else's creativity, acting like they did it themselves, and you ain't got a creative bone in your body. You get up every morning at your psychic commode and excrete feces into the Twitter machine and sling them across the wide society in which we live. Your nasty, vituperative, angry, arthritic, recalcitrant, unenlightened negativity. That's why we got to tell the truth, y'all, for our kids. We got to let them know that who they are and what they represent comes from a great tradition, comes from a marvelous tradition, comes from a tradition that took courage for us to become what we are. But finally, we rise because we recognize whose wings we rose on. See, a lot of people think they're cute and smart by themselves, like you got where you is by yourself. Excuse me for the abonicized articulation, but this is a Negro crowd. I know we got white brothers and sisters in here, I understand, but they knew they was coming to see Luther and not Frank Sinatra. I love Frank Sinatra, don't get it twisted. Fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars. But this is, don't you remember? I told you I loved you, baby. Baby, 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 ooh, baby, baby. This Luther up in here tonight. I have no apology for being an uncontrolled, uncontrollable, out of question, out of mind black man. I'm proud to be black up in here. We got to tell young people, though, you got to respect what your elders done. Some of us don't appreciate what people that came before us have done. I see some people looking at Jesse Jackson and they say, my God, what has he done? Just a lot more than you can imagine. Martin Luther King Jr. stood on a balcony in 1968 where a bullet cut his necktie and exploded inside of his cranium and let the blood flow down. His best friend, Ralph Abernathy, went into the room where a laundered shirt was found and extracted a cardboard from that laundered shirt and took a mason jar and then scooped that blood into that jar and said, this is the blood of the prophet who has died for us. And Jesse Jackson carried us for 40 years. Before we had a black president, we had a black man who was debating on television the great right thinkers, who was going to Ford and to General Motors and saying, open your doors, who went to Nike and said, open it up. The next time you see Jesse Jackson, say thank you. I know some of y'all look at Al Sharpton, you say, my God, you look at his hair, that's good hair. Because that's hair James Brown made him promise he wasn't going to change. I like Big Al and Small Al. Big Al was in a running suit and got stabbed, talking about police brutality. Unlike Dr. King, who died and then Jesse Jackson emerged, nobody died for Sharpton emerged, so he killed himself. He lost 150, 200 pounds. He reemerged in Brook Brothers suit, but still the same hair. I dare you to put that hair as a silhouette against George Washington. You can't tell the difference between the two. Al Sharpton understood that police brutality was a problem 30 years ago. And 30 years later, they still shooting us. Hands up, they shoot us. Hands down, they shoot us. Run, they shoot us. Don't run, they shoot us. Speak up, they shoot us. Don't speak up, they shoot us. It ain't what you do, it's who you are. And Al Sharpton saw that. Thank Al the next time you see him. But I want to tell you this. You got to also understand that young folk have shown us that we got to be more open-minded. Some of us got here on the wings of James Baldwin and Lorraine Hansberry and Barbara Smith and Angela Davis. Gay, lesbian, bisexual, queer. I know Negroes be using their Bibles or their religious books to dog gay people. You mean the same book that was used to dog you as a black person? I ain't never been to a black church that turns down gay tithes. Only funny money they don't want is change. Negroes say, well, they chose to be gay. I didn't choose to be black. Trust me, somebody among you who was black has checked out of the game. Oh, it was a choice and they left it. I ain't naming no names. You know what I'm talking about. Wearing long robes, sitting with 8 other people, making judgments. Oh, they done checked out a long time ago. Talking about it ain't no choice. Was being straight a choice to you? What did you go to your mom at 12 years old? Look, I've been looking at the choices, and I done chose one of them over the other. That ain't how it works. You've been blessed by gay people and didn't know it. Why black people got homophobic? When I was a kid, we wasn't homo. We knew who was gay. We knew Charlie was in the choir. We knew that you wasn't going to put Charlie out because he sang too good. Even though he was gay, he got you happy too. You've been blessed by gay people, didn't know it. You have heard preaching by black gay ministers who are in the closet, and you got blessed by them. Then Negroes get retroactively homophobic. Had I known you were gay, I would have never lost my wig and beat my weave in the name of Jesus because you blessed me so good. And then if we're going to thank the people whose wings we rode in on and rose on, we got to thank black women. Can I tell you? I love all the women of the world. I'm from the 1970s. That's how we do it. Larry, float, float, float on. So I love all women, but when God made a black woman out of the cosmic imagination and the chocolate divine appointment of destiny meeting a physical form that was devastating, black women ain't got to buy it out of a can. People trying to get dark under the sun and cosmetic surgery. Black women come here with it, thick lips and thick noses and thick hips and beautiful bodies. And if you got it, back that thing up. Your brain, I'm talking about your brain. I'm talking about your brain. Not just the beauty of black women, the intelligence of black women, the power of black women. Look at the black women you have in Congress. All these great women. Robin Kelly with a PhD, law degree from Harvard. Sheila Jackson Lee, Joyce Beatty, one of the most tremendous financial minds in the country. Look at the black women we have here who do amazing work and who are astonishing. Maxine Waters, who's reclaiming her time. Black women, the coldest thing God done made on this earth. I talk to some black men, they say they sick of black women. They say, that we can't deal with them because they're too bitter. You get up in the morning and say, hello, and they go, it's not a good morning. And I say, maybe you made them bitter, brother. Maybe she asked you to take the trash out 12 times, and on the 13th time, she just got a little bit upset. Then they tell me that black women are too choosy. I said I did a sociological analysis, and black women choose men beneath their own standing more than any other group in America. Black women got a PhD, got a brother who barely been to college. Sister with a master's degree got a guy who graduated high school. Sisters with a BA got a brother who went to the 8th grade. But she help him out. She say, fix your teeth up. We gonna get together today. Then they tell me I'm tired of black women. I say, why? Because they're too bossy. I say, you got a point right there, though, dog. Brilliant, bossy women we got up in here tonight. Marcia Dyson, Susan Taylor. We got bossy black women who are bosses. I love bossy black women. Bossy black women get things done. Some of y'all wouldn't even be here without a bossy black woman. Told you, get your black butt up, fill out that education, and go to school, Negro. See, back in my day, we weren't as cool as you guys are today. I can't see them coming down my eyes, so I make the song cry. No, we was crying with the song. And we didn't mind. Today, we told our story each. We told about the crying and the hurt and the pain that we had. Sunshine, blue skies. Please go away. My girls found another and gone away. With her went my future. My life is filled with gloom. So day after day, I stay. I know to you, it might sound, but I wish it would have rained. Y'all don't know nothing about that, y'all. And then the woman make us lose our mind. Have you seen her? Tell me, have you seen? I see her face as the cold wind blows on the street, even at the, have you seen her? Why? And then we got philosophical about it. Why, oh why, did she have to, oh, I've been used. You can understand every word they're saying. I ain't dogging mumble rap, but Negro, what are you saying? Let's make up some comments, 70,000 to 100,000, 100,000 to 100,000. What are you saying? Know what I mean? No, we do not know what you mean. I've been used to having someone. Now I'm. Then the woman would make us see things. Today I saw somebody who looked, I swear she did. She walked like, guess what? I thought it. But wait a minute. As she turned the corner, Shanae, Shanae. Then the girl turned us into a stalker. We didn't mind. Each day through my window, I watch her as she. Wait a minute, you watching her every day? How long you been watching her? 3 years? Somebody call the police on that stalker. I know y'all don't know this one. When you're in the center ring and their lines don't mean a thing, why don't you? See, y'all bragging about what y'all got. When the Remy's in the system, ain't no telling, will I love them, will I diss them? That's what they be yelling, I'm a pimp by blood, not relation. Y'all still chase some, I'll replay some, huh? No, you know, ma, I might light your wrist. Don't ask the girl why she like you for the stuff you got. Tell her what you ain't got. Tell her what you ain't got. Now, I don't wear a diamond ring. I don't. Now, this is a Pentecostal love song right here. Watch this. Speak in tongues. All I know is la, 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 la. That's Pentecostal speaking in tongues right there. I love. Now what they're singing, I don't know. You remind me of my Jeep. Oh. I love Trey Songz. He said, you gonna think I invented sex. No, you didn't. I love you, but I think Barry White had something to do with that. Playing your game, baby. I think Marvin Gaye had something to do with that. I think Marvin said, I don't see nothing wrong with you. Giving yourself to me can never be wrong if the Spirit moves you. Did that Negro bring the Holy Ghost up into the bedroom up in there? That's what we got to tell people. You ain't got to grab it, call it. I think Teddy Pendergrass had something to do with it. He started off mellow. Close the door, baby. Then he got rough with it. Turn him off! Huh? Don't be scared of no powerful, strong, intelligent black woman. Don't be afraid of what God gave you. Don't be afraid of how God has blessed you. I'm glad for strong, intelligent, powerful black women like here at the Congressional Black Caucus, like across this country. You think Harriet Tubman wasn't a strong black woman? What do you think Harriet said? Excuse me. There's a thing called the Underground Railroad, and I want you guys to come along. That ain't what she said. Be here tonight at 8:30, and don't be late. And then Negroes got there. I'm about to take my seat. Negroes got there, and they said, Miss Tubman, we was going to go, but we done changed our minds. But we's not going to tell nobody. Oh, she said, I know you won't. She had a Bible in one hand. Y'all don't know nothing about Junior Walker. Shotgun, shoot him for a run now. And then she had to knock some of those Negroes out. Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years, Mama said. And she had to knock some of those Negroes out, don't you know? Harriet had to knock them out, and women are still doing it today. Black women are still doing it today. They are dragging them, and then when she drugged those Negroes to freedom, after they woke up, where I is, Negro, you are free. We done drug you to freedom, and black women are still doing it today. That's why I love a strong black woman. Now let me say this. What's the name of my book? What you gonna do? I'm gonna tell you this. My Bible tells me at the last trump, the trumpet will sound. That's the only trump I'm waiting for. When the trumpet shall sound at the end, I'm gonna get up like Jesus went down into the ground on Friday and Saturday, but on Sunday, he got up, he rose again, and together we'll rise again. Peace.
Amazing. You were singing? What was it, Tupac? You went back. Came up.
Holla if you hear me.
What? But you know, at this moment, let's once again thank Michael Eric Dyson for that great keynote speech. But while we're at it, you know, he's pushing his books. I've got two. Go on Amazon and buy mine too.
Let's see how much we've raised tonight. Let's go to that thermometer. We're at $17,906, 279 donors. All right, thank you for supporting the hurricane victims. Please continue to text CBC to that number we gave you earlier. All money helps. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our program. Thank you all for coming.
Good night and safe travels. And don't forget your Uber discount code. Uber will make a donation to CBCF every time you take a ride, and you get a discount ride. Now, for all of you who travel with Uber, listen to this. Use the Uber promo code CBCFALC17 in the payment tab on your app. Use it, you get a discount. Good night, safe travels. It was fun, Anthony.
It was fun, April.
Good night.